8 policemen implicated in the death of Mozambican national Middle Machia will today appear in the Daveyton Magistrates Court on Gauteng's East Rand. And Kenyans go to the polls today. I'm Richard Brooks. The 8 policemen implicated in the death of Mozambican national Middle Machia will today appear in the Daveyton Magistrates Court on Gauteng's East Rand. Meanwhile, the deceased's family have asked President Jacob Zuma to intervene in a probe into his death, allegedly at the hands of the police in Daveyton last week. Machia died after he was dragged behind a police van. The DA has called for the establishment of a commission of inquiry into police brutality after the incident. Machia's aunt, Hilton Sitole.
The
president must intervene to help us. It's painful.
Danhauser in northern KZN has become the first municipality in the country to provide electricity to every household. Electrification projects started in 1996 and the last 1,000 houses were connected to the grid at the weekend. Some of the residents have expressed gratitude.
I'm very happy. I have electricity after many years.
People here have been constantly struggling without electricity, and they have asked that it is prioritized today.
Farm Workers Union Bawusa has threatened to embark on renewed protest action in the agricultural sector if the initial demand for a 150 Rand minimum wage for farm workers is not met by the end of this year. The union held a rally in Dedurens following threats that workers would take to the streets today due to their dissatisfaction over their wages. Bawusa Secretary Nozi Pieterse says despite the introduction of a new minimum daily wage of 105 Rand, some workers are still earning only a little more than 80 Rand a day. He says the exemption that the Labour Department has granted to farmers is also being abused.
The purpose of the meeting was firstly to recommit ourselves for the struggle for the 150. 105 Rand we accepted under duress and we reject the annual increase of inflation rate plus 1.5%. And we have vowed to return to the Stingits on the 1st of November 2013 to determine the new minimum for farm workers on that day.
Kenyans are standing in long queues at polling stations across the country as they start to cast their votes in the country's 2013 general election. The election comes under a new constitution and after the 2007 post-election violence. Sarah Kimani has more.
Voters started queuing at various polling stations as early as 1 a.m., 5 hours before polls opened. There are 14 million registered voters in the high-stakes elections. In the polling station, where one of the front-runners, Uhuru Kenyatta, will be casting his ballot later today, a long queue snakes from a classroom through to a nearby maize plantation. Uhuru is competing against 7 other candidates, including Prime Minister Raila Odinga. The voting exercise started on a high note, but there have been cases of fraud in some areas, and it is reported that one car has been burnt in an area where residents said one of the aspirants was caught buying votes.